Hello everybody, this is Sarahscopic and you're watching Traffic Musings. Currently coming back home from babysitting. For people who don't know, I babysit on Fridays. I don't usually do record Traffic Musings on those days, usually because by the time I get out it's a little darker than this, but it's not winter yet, so it's okay to record now, and I need to do some backlog of these, so just to warn you, Abby is insistent we go in this one way. That's not the way I want to go. So I think I know how to get home from here, but if she's being too noisy, we'll just have to make her be quiet for a little bit. Okay, sweetie? Okay. So today I want to talk about a weird thing that actually happened to me while babysitting. No, the baby was fine. That wasn't the problem. It was actually what happened during the baby's nap. So I'm one of the very lucky babysitters that when the baby's napping, I actually can take a nap. Pretty sure mothers everywhere would be extremely jealous of this, but it's possible. And I mean, I say baby, she's a little older, so it's not like I have to always be awake for her, so it's okay. So I take a nap when the baby takes a nap. But because I am still babysitting, my body still kind of like doesn't fully fall asleep. Like I'll fall asleep for a little bit, then I'll kind of like jerk awake at odd times, and so I feel more or less rested from all that, but it is kind of a weird experience while sleeping. But today something really weird happened. Basically, I'm going to sleep and such, and I kind of wake up a little bit throughout. Sometimes also because my phone's buzzing, so I'm checking now to make sure everything's okay with things and stuff like that. And I suddenly kind of, how do I explain this? Okay, I can't think of the name, but for those who don't know this is going to be new to you and you can look it up. For people who do know this, you'll know what I'm talking about. When you're going to sleep, your brain releases a chemical that basically paralyzes your body. And it's supposed to, prevent you from sleepwalking and things like this. Obviously, people who sleepwalk, that part is not working as effectively, but that's the idea. Your body paralyzes you while you're asleep so that you don't move, because it's for safety reasons, obviously. So you don't, roll around and things like that and hurt yourself. Well, as I was there were a couple times when I was falling asleep where I felt the paralysis. I felt it set into my body. And it's a very freaky experience. This is not the first time I've had this happen, but it was very freaky because, it kept happening. It was really hard because the problem is you can't move, right? So you kind of feel like your whole body's just paralyzed. And eventually, I was able to, move, twitch a muscle, move a foot, move a hand or something, and it breaks it. So I was able to, kind of move around, change my position, because the problem, too, with when that was happening is I could feel my legs losing circulation. And for me personally, losing circulation is really uncomfortable. No one likes the feeling losing circulation, obviously, but I think I deal with it less well than most people do. I don't even like the idea of it. It's one of those things that, you talk about losing circulation. 2 miles to exit. Anyway, what I was trying to say is, so I think most people don't like, the feeling of losing circulation, but for me, even just the thought of it, sends, makes my blood curl. I just don't like it. And I felt it plenty of times. I've had my feet, limbs fall asleep and stuff like that, that feeling but I really can't stand it, and I really can't tell you why. I think because I'm short, I lose circulation faster than most people. I only say this because certain things that, for instance, my boyfriend, who's much taller, can do, he can hold certain, I don't know how to say this, he can hold certain positions when he's laying down for longer periods of time than I can, and so that's how it kind of tells me, oh, maybe it's different in my body. So I think my body, because it's shorter limbs, the loss of circulation affects me faster, so that also probably doesn't help matters. But anyway, so I was feeling that, and so I was trying to twitch my body so I could unfeel that. And also, who likes the feeling of that paralysis feeling? I was put me to sleep, my goodness, why am I feeling this? And it was not comfortable, but the freakiest part of it. So, as I was explaining, I was going through this thing multiple times. I would, twitch, move my body, and then I'd feel it again, twitch, move my body, feel it again. It was awful. And at one point, so I'm trying to, get comfortable, and at one point, I'm laying my head back because I'm just so distraught, basically. And my jaw's slightly open, right? Whatever. Okay, whatever. I'm just trying to relax at this point. Well, the paralysis came again, and suddenly my jaw was locked. I felt my jaw, I felt immense pain in my jaw, and it was because it was locked, locked like this, and it was the weirdest thing ever. And that was when it was really bad, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in pain. And so that wasn't great. And I managed to get up from that, but it was the weirdest experience. So I guess, maybe scientists already figured this out, I didn't know. When you fall asleep, like with your mouth open or whatever, I guess you lock your jaw, I guess that's something that your body does. I didn't know that, unless that was just me. Maybe that's just a problem I have. But yeah, like I locked my jaw, and it was not great. I mentioned a little earlier, I think, that I've had this experience before. Not the locking jaw. That was the part that made me go like, what is going on? But I've had the experience of that like paralysis feeling before. I can't really remember the exact times I've had it. The one time I'm thinking of, it was kind of a weirder experience, because I was also like semi-dreaming along with it, but I knew I wasn't asleep because I was aware of my surroundings. And what happened was, I was actually asleep at the cabin, and I'd woken up, I think, because the walls are super thin in our cabin, and my parents were probably up, like, talking. My father probably had his coffee maker going, which I hate that stupid thing. It always makes me up, and it makes the worst sound, but that's another story. So I think I'd woken up with that. I was trying to go back to sleep, and I could feel I felt the paralysis. It was the first time I ever kind of felt that, I think. And I knew what it was because I'd learned about that about sleep and such like that. But the weirdest part about that is I felt, like, normally I wouldn't really care because I wasn't in pain. It was just kind of a weird sensation. But the weirdest part about it is I felt like my body was being moved out of the bed and was going to, like, descend. Like, I felt like my body was, like, floating out, like, across the bed out to the floor, and it was going to descend, and I was freaking out. And so, like, I woke myself up. So I think I was like not like lucid dream, but like half dreaming. So like I was aware of my surroundings, but that sensation, like, in the fact that it freaked me out, even though there's no reason it should freak me out because I should know that I was fine. It was kind of weirded me out a little bit, and so it didn't happen 3 times. Like, I kept waking up, and as I kept waking myself up, because I was freaking out, like I would twitch a muscle and such like that. And and I'd go to sleep again, and it would happen again, that feeling, that paralysis feeling. So, not the first time it's happened, the first time that I've been so aware of it happening. So that's just a little weird. I should add, because I think some people in the comments are going to be concerned about this, I don't have narcolepsy. I have been tested for people who have been at the Sarahscopic show. Or if you're new to this, look at episode 50. I did a sleep study. There were no results of the sleep study, which was extremely irritating, but I did do a sleep study, and narcolepsy was one of the things they tested for, and I do not have narcolepsy. The reason I say this, for people who don't know, what I'm describing is a symptom of narcolepsy, I'm pretty sure. I used to have the symptoms memorized, because back when I thought I did have narcolepsy, I would, be checking and such like that, and I don't. And so I don't know what this sensation is. I don't know. There may be something else that's wrong with my body, but it's not that. So, yeah, it's very weird and just creepy. And the locked jaw thing was just especially like, what is going on with my life? So that wasn't great, That was just a little creepy. But yeah. So tell me in the comments below, have you ever had a freaky experience involving your sleep? I don't know. Do you sleepwalk? I used to sleepwalk, actually. Funny story. I did used to sleepwalk as a child. We're running out of time, but maybe I can just say this. I used to have an issue where I think I still do talk in my sleep sometimes. I haven't been told I do, but I still might. I do kick in my sleep, that I do know. I always warn people if I'm ever at a sleepover or whatever, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna kick in my sleep. But I used to sleepwalk. Nothing terrible, but my mom has a couple of embarrassing stories where I would just sleepwalk in her room and just say nonsense and then go back to bed. So, I mean, I guess that's a thing. Well, whatever, it happens. I don't know if I mentioned before, like sleepwalking is an issue with that paralysis, and now I apparently have the opposite problem. The paralysis is fine. I just apparently can feel it while I'm conscious, and it's creepy. If you've ever had that experience, it's really freaking creepy. Anyway, but yeah, tell me about your stories with sleepwalking or sleep paralysis or anything really. I don't know. Just talk to me, guys. I'm lovely. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope something amazing happens to you. Without further ado, I hope to see you all in the next episode. Bye-bye!